is, where was your family when twins joined the family? And we're not just talking twins, we're talking a multiple birth. It could be twins, triplets, quadruplets, however many came out. It's more than one. That's all I can tell. It's definitely more than one. So whenever I say twins, think multiple birth. So just think of that because I wrote it all as twins, but just think multiple birth. Twins joining family is one of the, and I would have to say right up front that I am a descendant of 3 grandparents. There's usually 4, but of 3 grandparents who were all twins. So yeah, we have twins in our family. And then granddad was a boy girl. He was the boy out of his twin sister. He had a twin sister. Grandma had a twin sister, and Nana had a twin brother. So 3 of my 4 grandparents were twins, and granddad's twin sister went on and had twin boys. And those are the only twins that I know of in the immediate family, being grandparents and down. I don't know of any other twins born in our family, except for those that I find as I am researching genealogy back in the ancestors' days and the ancestors and things. But twins joining a family is one of those moments when everything changes twice over. For some families, discovering they were expecting twins came as a complete surprise. Perhaps the doctor heard 2 heartbeats, an ultrasound revealed 2 babies, or in earlier generations, nobody knew that there were twins or multiples until the babies arrived. The mother gave birth and they discovered she was still pregnant. There's another one coming. Imagine preparing for 1 baby and suddenly discovering you need 2 of everything, or 3 or 4. The arrival itself often became a story that was told for generations. Who was born first? How many minutes separated them? Were they identical or fraternal? Did the family already have names chosen, or did the arrival of 2 babies cause a last-minute rethink? Were they tiny newborns or needed extra care? Or did they arrive healthy and ready to make their presence known? Then came the reactions from the rest of the family. Grandparents suddenly had 2 new grandchildren to cuddle. Ooh, I'd love to have that. Older brothers and sisters had not 1, but 2 new siblings competing for attention. Friends, neighbors, aunts, and uncles have rallied around the family with meals, baby clothes, advice, and plenty of extra hands. Raising twins created its own collection of family stories. There were double feeds, double nappies or diapers, double crying, and probably very little sleep. But there were also 2 first smiles, 2 first steps, 2 personalities beginning to emerge, and a relationship between the twins that could be fascinating to watch. I would tell you this, twins have a communication field that nobody can tap into. They know what each other, some of them can feel when the other one's in pain or when the other one's sick. And have, sympathetic, is it empathetic? Sympathetic, whatever. They have a reaction if the other person is hurt or sick. They can communicate on a vibe that we don't recognize. They know what the other one is thinking. As they grew older, were the twins dressed alike? Could people tell them apart? Did they play tricks on teachers or relatives by pretending to be each other? I can actually tell you that this is a fact. I was at high school, our deputy principal had identical twin boys. And one of them had the principal for math one day. And so they're doing the math class. And at the end of class, they told him, because it was April Fool's Day, they switched. And at the end of the class, they told the principal that wasn't the twin that he thought he was teaching. It was actually they'd switched. I've heard of many stories. In fact, I was just watching a reel on the Graham Norton show, and there was an actor on there who has an identical twin brother. And he needed extra credits for class. And so his twin brother had just finished at some acting thing where he had done a Greek tragedy or something. That's what this kid had to do to get the extra credits to be able to graduate. And so he went in his brother's place and did the Greek tragedy that he had just done. And he thought he may have overshot it a little bit, but he got enough points for his twin brother to graduate. And apparently that wasn't the only time they did switches. Did they have completely different personalities, or did they seem to know what the other was thinking without saying a word? Perhaps one was quiet and the other was adventurous, or one seemed to lead while the other was happy to follow. Twins can be wonderful clues in family history. Sometimes twins appear repeatedly through generations, creating stories that family members remember long after names and dates have been forgotten. You may even discover twins further back in your family tree that nobody living today knew about. Have found those. And we can tell you story after story after story after story after story. You've got fraternal twins. You've got which are twins that don't look alike, don't have that connection. They actually have two, I believe they have two embryo sacs. And then the identical twins, they share the same sac and they come out looking identical. You can also have mirror twins. Brad's best friend is a mirror twin, and one's predominantly left, right's left-handed, does everything left-handed, and the other one is predominantly right. And you could basically like slice them down the middle and put the put the halves together to get the whole type of thing. Great guys, great friends of my late husband. And so I've met a lot of twins. I've got brother-in-laws that are twins, completely fraternal. But I have met identical twins as well. I was at a friend's wedding where I was a bridesmaid in her wedding party, and her flower girls were identical twins, and they were nieces of her husband to be. And we were all living in the same. We were all staying in the same house for the wedding and everything else, and the twins were there, and it was having to watch them very closely to determine which one was which, and then trying to guess which one was which. I started getting it right towards the end, and I had to leave to go back home. But it was a fun few days hanging around with these identical twins, because sometimes they would just switch roles. They would say, "Nope, I'm not that person. I'm this one," and I look at them very suspiciously, and I'm like, "I don't think so." But they would switch to try and confuse people, which was we had a blast with those twins. But yeah, so we've had twins. I was at school with twins. And I'm finding twins in our family tree as well. And on the birth certificate, it will have one of, and to show that they were the older one born of the twins, it will have one of two, and then the second one would have two of two. If there was multiple births, they would be written as one of three, one of four, one of whatever, and then the other ones would be written in their birth order as well. So if you're looking at a birth, even if one was stillborn, this is something interesting I learned. In some places, if one was stillborn, they'll record the stillborn, but won't say that it's a twin, which kind of throws me. Other ones, they will put one of two, and then you go look for the second one, and will put stillborn on that one. So that's if one didn't make it and one did. So twins are very interesting. Multiple births are very interesting. I have only come across twins. I have not come across triplets or quadruplets or any other number except for either one or two. One or two. That's it. That's what I've come across. I'd love to find some triplets in the family somewhere. Or in somebody's tree. I'd love to find triplets in somebody's tree that they didn't know about. But yeah, there's a lot of times I come across twins and I'm sort of like, "Oh, did you know da 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 da?" And Mum will go, "Nope, didn't know about that one." Well, that's a surprise. So finding multiple births in family history is just awesome. Because when you see the dates coming up or their years are very close, or you see them on a census and they're the same age, you're like, are they twins, or are they close enough that because of the time the census was done, one's had a birthday and one hasn't, so they appear as the same age. So now you have to go and research when you see them on the census report at the same age. Now we have to go find their birth records to determine, are they actually twins? That's usually the first clue that we get when we're looking, when you're looking in family trees, is you will see them on the census report together at the same age. And so then it's sort of like, are they twins? Are they not twins? And you have to go and look up and find the birth records. Occasionally, you will find it on birth records when you suddenly come across one, have one of two, or one of however many children were born at that time. And then you go find the second one. But the way I have found twins in the family is through census reports, be it England's the English census reports, the US federal census reports, the Canadian census reports. That is how I have typically found twins, is through the census reports. In New Zealand, it's a little different because we don't really do census. Well, we do, but they don't publish the records like they do elsewhere. And I've only found them through looking through the birth records. When I'm looking for a family member and I find their birth certificate, and you pull up the record and it's one of two, and I'm like, oh, we have twins. Now we've got to find the second one. Or you come across where two have been registered in the same year. Are they twins, or were they just recorded at the same time and have different birth dates? That's the other one that we find as well. So, but looking for twins is fun. Hearing the stories of twins is hilarious. You get to hear all the stuff that they did, and switching and that sort of, especially if they're identical, switching things up and that sort of stuff as well. So your family tree challenge today is find out whether there are twins anywhere in your family. When were they born? Were they identical or fraternal? Who was born first? How did the family react when they discovered there were two babies? And remember, back in the days, before they even had ultrasounds and stuff like that, oftentimes they didn't know it was a multiple birth until the mother was actually giving birth, and one comes out and she's still pregnant. And they find that there's a second one coming out, or even a third. So back in the day, before they had the equipment where they could look and see, they didn't know about multiple births unless they could hear the second heartbeat. But sometimes they might have heard just one heartbeat and not heard the other one because one baby's hiding behind the other one, so the sound was muffled. So yeah, it was very interesting trying to find out if people were pregnant with twins. Ask about their personalities, childhood adventures, nicknames, photographs, and the stories everyone remembers about them. That's another way you can find twins. If you've got two that look around the same age and look identical, kind of identical, then you can, find them that way. Twins don't simply add two names to the family tree. They add a whole collection of stories, memories, and connections that deserve to be preserved. So let us know in the comments below the stories that you uncover, some of the things that you come across with looking, finding the twins in the family, and if there was any multiple births in the family. They are fun to research. You should know I do a lot. And especially when you hear rumors in the family that, well, there was actually 3 sets of twins in that family, not just the one set that you've got. So now you've got to go look at the other births in that family to see was there multiple twins in the family in that particular branch of the family, or was it just that one was recorded and for some reason, because of the close ages of older siblings, they thought that they were twins? We don't know until we go research and we actually get copies of birth certificates, because on there it will be listed as 1 of 2, 2 of 2. And if one was stillborn, they would still have it on the record that that was a twin. So go out, have fun finding the twins or the multiples and the multiple births in your family, and let us know some of the funny stories that come out of it. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening, and we will be on. Oh no, that's next week. I'm a week ahead of myself. Anyway, go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Hei konera.